things that we're going to share.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a magical mothering method session for November. And Karen and I have had a couple minutes prior, and we're talking about filters. We're talking about like addictions to Instagram and Facebook. We're talking about root chakra today. We're going to talk about where our inner child plays into this and what kind of needs are obviously being met through these addictions and through these impulsive behaviors. And if Instagram and Facebook are not your thing, but it's alcohol or coffee or porn or anything that is pulling at you to fulfill a need, or even dissociating. I mean, Instagram and Facebook are huge dissociation techniques, and our whole society is systemically based around keeping us dissociated so that we are not aware. So we were kind of just going into like this whole like plastic surgery based off filters, and down the rabbit hole we go. So join in as we continue.
Right. Summarizing just, me and you within the first 5 minutes. That's where we are. I love it.
We don't do superficial around here.
No. Well, what I was saying before I deactivated my Instagram, I saw a post from someone had shared a post from, hold on, let me get Amara. Someone had shared a post from the, the supermodel, the ex-super, like the, old school supermodel, Paulina Porizkova. She's like one of the original, she was with Cindy Crawford and all them, right? I mean, she's a stunning woman, right?
Still at like 60?
Yeah, she's still absolutely stunning. And she hasn't got any work done. That's her thing. Well, Amara, seriously, girlfriend, come on now. All right.
She's all girl time.
She's all, fuck these AirPods, mom. I need the session too.
Airtime? Hello, this is time.
Yeah. Wait, now I can't hear you. God damn it. Oh, shit. There we go. Okay. Jesus. So she shared a photo of Sarah Jessica Parker, how Sarah Jessica Parker looks. And Sarah Jessica Parker looks old now, like older. And she has not done anything. She's not dyeing her hair. She's gray. She's got wrinkles. And Paulina was like, thank you for showing up. She just did a Vogue spread as she is. And she's like, because we are erased. We are erased, and that we need representation of those of us that choose not to alter ourselves, Yeah.
And I have so many women in their mid to late 40s that are gray, and they've got younger kids, 8 to 10 to 12. And people are going, oh, you're with your grandmother. And they're like, no, I'm 45. Like, no, just because I have gray hair does not make me a grandmother. Like,
well, that's going to be me. I'm going to be in my 40s with 10-year-olds and shit.
Yeah. When it's like, I've always called these silver sparkles. Always. And it's one of those things where you earn every single one of them.
Yes. No, I get excited when I find a new one. I get really excited about it. I'm sweet.
But this is like in our culture. So I was in the 8th grade and I had a gray hair. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I've got gray hair. She goes, well, let's dye your hair. That was the response that I got. So this is how I was raised.
Wow.
And my kids asked me recently, why do you have more silver sparkles than Nana when she's older than you? And I said, she paints them every 6 weeks like clockwork.
Wow.
I think as a culture, we're so masked, and the filters are just a whole other level. I'm seeing women on TikTok in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, like people are like, how do you look so young? And it's like, oh, my face routine. I'm like, really?
AKA fillers, Botox,
filters, like you don't go live without a filter on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. None of them go on without a filter. Nobody, not a single one. And so then everyone thinks like, this is how this person looks. Even if they know, it's like, it still does something to your mind.
Yeah.
To where that's what you think. And then if you keep using them, you feel like you can't not use it.
Same thing with makeup. I think makeup was the original filter. I mean, my mother-in-law still says, I need to go put my face on. And my kids are like, does she have another face? Like, that's so creative.
What is this?
Like, what do you mean? Like, where's her other face found? Like,
What does she do? Where does she keep her extra face?
But this was
That's
a term like everyone used pre-80s to get ready for the day. Like, I'm gonna put my face on.
Yeah.
Now, or it's where's my favorite filter, and how. So
yeah,
which goes into, have you heard of transhumanism?
No.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Rabbit hole. I learned about it for the first time on Joe Rogan when Travis was watching Joe Rogan all the time. There was a transhumanist who was trying to run for president. So this was the original, so like alongside Trump 4 years ago, he was running.
Oh.
And he was talking about how transhumanism is literally creating our being, not as a robot, but integrating it so seamlessly with technology that we won't be able to live without it. And then eventually we'll have all of our being in the computer system, and we can just get rid of our bodies and have databases, and everybody is literally a program.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of sci-fi movies about that shit.
Yeah.
I saw something about an AI artist, like an artificial intelligent artist. So that's kind of similar, you know, and I'm just like, if you remove the human from the art,
the soul, what is it?
Yeah. Wow.
So what was this AI artist?
I saw, I'm trying to remember where I saw it. Oh, I saw it on Instagram. I saw it because I follow this woman, House of Voodoo, and she knows what the fuck is up. Like she's a voodoo, like Haitian mambo, like she's full on. And she was talking about that. No, go. Yeah, whatever you can get yourself, you can get. They're in so much trouble right now. Anyway, they really took things to another level last night. So they've been like scooping dog shit and cleaning floors. Anyway, so she was sharing, because she's talking about this. She's like, this is bad. You know, all this, the metaverse and all this. She's like, this is not good. None of this is good at all. This is real bad, you know? And she was sharing about that. And I don't remember where this artist is from, but it's like, she looks kind of like a person. I mean, you can tell that she's artificial, but yeah, she makes art, and her art goes on display places. And I'm just like,
which is perfection. Like, that is what this whole thing, like, humans aren't perfect.
No.
We all are a little not symmetrical in our faces. Like, and some that actually enhances beauty. Like, there's all sorts of fine nuances in the imperfections that creates attraction, and it's our smells, and it's all of these things. Like, if you like your man when they're hot and sweaty and smelly, like, they're the right person for you. If you're turned off, they are not the right person for you. Like, it's so, and so we cover the deodorants now, like, all these things. And like, people have fallen in love with people because they've been wearing a certain cologne or perfume. And when that then runs out and is no longer available, they immediately want to divorce that person because they
don't smell right.
Because their smell is so repulsive to them. Like, they didn't actually get attracted to the pheromones. They got attracted to the artificial.
Wow.
I mean, this has been going on for millennia.
Forever. I mean, ever since that stuff was invented.
Yeah.
Man, that's so crazy. I can't. And that's why I had to take myself off of it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. You know, it's like this big yo-yo thing that I'm doing. And like, I know that I can't regulate myself. I've done everything. I've gotten all the app blockers. I've done all of that. And it doesn't matter, because when I go there, it's like not good.
Yeah.
you know.
And are you open yet to share what happened yesterday?
Yeah, I will tell you exactly what happened. And this is a thing that's been an issue for me ever since I had Leo. You know, it's when there's a sharing of a natural birth story, and it's kind of coming from this place that's sort of like elitist, or like
this is how everybody should do it, and if you don't have it this way, like, because I did it, everybody should be able to do this, and there's really no excuses as to why you didn't do it this way.
Kind of. And then there's also like, well, I had a will, and my will was more power, you know what I mean? That sort of like, that's triggering for me.
Yeah.
And I understand that that's my trigger. Part of why that's my trigger is because it actually, like, yeah, there's a lot to that, but there's actual things that happen that are not in your control, you know, and it just gets me spun up. And like I said, I recognize that's my issue. It's not their issue, but it's like, especially when I see like a first time fucking mom doing it, I'm like, bitch.
Well, and to be honest, that was totally me. That was hands down. When I had my first one, I was just like, why can't everybody do this? Why, you know, like, why would people choose to do the other way? And now I'm like, oh, who is that? And why would you ever say that to anybody? Like, because that's really the beauty of this lifetime. Like,
right.
Is for us to all have individual experiences, to not judge those others' experiences, but to go, wow, I'm so grateful that I got to have the experience I really desired. And I'm so heartbroken that maybe they did too, and they didn't get to choose that. Or maybe they got to choose something that their hearts desired, and they're really happy about that. Like, there's so many things.
Right. And I think that, and it's like, I totally honor her experience as a specific person. I totally honor her experience, and she should be able to share it however she desires.
Right.
But what I think what frustrates me is there's a level of privilege to that. I'm like, you are a healthy, young, thin white woman, you know, and a lot of people have to really fight to get to that, you know, to get that sort of treatment, or to be able to even overcome a doctor's trying to pressure you, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
And
that is some,
yeah,
huge. Yeah.
Really, you know, and and I'm really careful because I have a couple friends right now that are about to be first time mothers. I am so careful because what I couldn't stand, and I know what no first time mother can stand, is all the negativity, all the negative shit, and all the horror stories. I mean, in my births, like especially the first two, they're actual horror stories.
Yes, they are.
But they were also like they were transcendental.
They were like complete Kundalini awakenings in and of themselves to bring out trauma that was very stuck.
Yeah.
It literally broke open the trauma twice before you could have a re-experience or a rebirthing of yourself and a baby.
Yeah, you froze up a little bit. I'm sure it'll line up in here a second. There you are. Yeah, you know, and that's fine. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like a tough line where it's like people should be able to share how they want to share, and in their own way, and uncensored and unfiltered, you know, and all of that. And that's why I, you know, because then, you know what I find myself doing? Drafting a response, drafting my own post to negate that, and to fight, like put myself in a superior self-righteous position. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah. To share your own vulnerable story.
Yeah.
Of healing.
Right. Right. And I've also like just moved past a place of even wanting to share. Yes, of course, Amara. Of course you're tired now, not like 45 minutes ago when I was trying to put you down, huh, sis? Now she's like rubbing her face on the floor. I'm like, okay. Yeah, now you're gonna pull my plug again. I know what's gonna happen. Okay. So yeah, so it's a whole thing. And I was like, wow, I've got some real like unpacking to do with that, and like why I am reacting so strongly to this. Here, hang on, let me get her on the boob. Yep. There we go.
There we go.
Oh my God.
All is well in the world.
Okay. Jesus.
So
heaven forbid she just like go to bed, before the session,
like,
but whatever.
Like,
yeah.
4 more years before that, like.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. And then I was starting, and then when you did your comment on my post, I was like thinking about my mother's birth story with me, and I was a month early. I was preemie.
Okay.
So when she had me, first of all, it came really fast. Like my mom's labors are like 2 hours and like baby's out, Wow. And I couldn't keep myself warm. So they had to like incubate me. They had to put me in an incubator and like squirt milk to me through a syringe. So I'm like, okay, so there's clearly some stuff there, what I mean?
I mean, talk about AI or like like being literally born into this sterile, robotic, mechanical environment. Literally,
that was in the 80s.
First experience you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they didn't, there was, in the 80s, it was like less standard to do skin to skin and all that stuff anyway. Mm-hmm. Because probably I would have been fine if they just put me on my mom's chest. My body would have regulated just fine.
Just like if a baby ever has a fever, you literally get naked and they are naked and their fever will regulate just being on top of you. Like, mm-hmm. That's how powerful our relationship is, and it's like, but that's not taught.
Yeah.
It's baby Tylenol at, 3 weeks old or whatever. It's
right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So I was like, okay, so that's clearly like the root, like the real root here is like, it's a trigger because of that, mm-hmm. because of that, I think, and also my experiences, it just makes me mad. You know what I mean? It just makes me really mad because I'm just like, you're kind of speaking from this place that's really lacking in compassion for other people's like real experiences and like a really hard thing,
I think, and we've talked about this, I don't know how many times, this aspect of needing new communication skills and new words and the ability to say, this is what makes me feel safe. So this is why I'm choosing this. Not, you should do this because it makes me feel safe. We like confuse the way we even speak. You need to vote for this person because it makes me safe, rather than I'm voting for this person because this is going to be the safest choice for me and the values that I have. We've lost connection with this ability to feel our own feelings. So now we just tell everybody how they need to feel.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dad, I'm on a call right now. So the kids are in the other room. Yeah. Well, exactly. And I'm also with that stuff. I'm like, whatever happened to minding your fucking business about that shit?
Didn't we used to not talk about religion, politics, medical thing? Like these were all taboo until 20 years ago? Maybe sort of them. Like nobody put lawn signs into who they were voting for. It was very discreet. It was very, taboo to talk about those things.
Well, right. Or if you did, it was like in a civil way, in like a civics, like you had civics class and you did it in a way in an environment where it was like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're talking about.
And you learned how to communicate your own reasonings, not, I feel like it's more about convincing others to follow you and less about why you're actually choosing the actions you're taking.
Right. It's a shame based, you know, and then there's all, you know, and it's like, you know, all this medical stuff. I'm like, it's no one's actual business.
Yeah.
You know, like what people choose to do medically. It's nobody's fucking business, actually.
Right. And that is something I have had to learn. Like, I would like everybody to heal. But guess what?
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to fucking heal. And like me saying that is a huge trigger for people because they're like, you have no idea how hard I've tried. And now you're just telling me to just heal, like that you've got the magic answer. You know what I mean? So I've even been totally guilty of this and realizing like, whoa.
Oh yeah, me too.
My own need to people please so badly is like oozing out.
Yep.
Onto others' wounds that are very open and very like, I'm just pouring salt right in them. Like, no, I've got the magic answers because I need to please you so much that I will do anything in my power to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and that's actually the other thing too. I was like, this is also like about people pleasing for me. Like the social media landscape creates a space where I feel like I'm performing.
Yeah.
And where I'm kind of say, you know, and it's like, I have people that I've mostly only engaged with on Instagram or online. And they're like, oh, you're so inspiring. You really, like, you have no idea, like what you know what I mean? All this stuff. And it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, it creates this kind of like pressure to stay and to like keep you know, and then I was like, you know what, like I know I've got magic, you know, and I do believe that everybody has it, but I know that like people are attracted to certain things, and I'm like, yeah, actually access to this is a privilege.
Yeah,
access to me and who I am in my life and my kids is a privilege, and I'm just like not willing to do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore because it's people pleasing, it activates that to the max, you know, because then it's like, okay, then if I don't say this way, then this will make somebody upset, or if I say it this, and it's like, wow. Wow. Like, really, we're going all the way back to that's backwards.
And it's one of those things where I think it's very purposeful. We've seen the video. What is that? It's called
is it called The Social Dilemma or the social the documentary?
And you know, we know that this is very purposeful. It was made addictive, you know, and we've seen the change of Zuckerberg over the years of being human and not being human anymore. Like, he is not a human being any longer. He is an AI himself of some sort, simply because he has no emotional abilities whatsoever. He has zero compassion. He has zero ability to orchestrate anything,
emote or anything.
So is that what ultimately will become of all of us when we tap in and get plugged in like we are? And I've been very much thoroughly having a desire to take Friday, Saturday, and Sundays off of my phone and just not pick up my phone. I have not succeeded once. Not like I can't.
Someone needs you.
I cannot even make it a day.
Yeah.
And it's such a real, like, but I need to have pictures. I have to document this. I need, you know, all these things that I'm creating. Like, if I don't respond to that, they won't be there in 3 days. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because, and
right.
that's really how quick people's attention like diverts.
Yeah, the attention spans are non-existent. They're non-existent because of all this. Yeah.
Correct. And so we wonder why kids and every adult on TikTok now has ADHD and ADD, like, because TikTok is actually creating even more of that in the disorder purposefully.
Yeah. And I'm like, how are you people fitting all this information into this short form? Like, I can't, like, I keep up with it.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, the virtual reality stuff is, I know a couple people that have like games, like virtual reality games, and they talk about how like they can't really play it for that long because it really actually messes with your reality, like, and how you move in the world, like just from playing a game for too long. So I'm like, what is all that gonna do to people? You know, like, I don't know, like I'm all for people having more access and people being able to, like, people that can't leave their house or it's harder for them to leave their house, to be able to access spaces and to be able to have jobs that they're, you know,
this, like,
yeah, exactly. This right works.
Is,
yeah.
I mean, for years we did not do that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because it just wasn't easy. There wasn't a way to do it. And
yeah,
you know, so I think there's this aspect of, there is so much good, just like life-saving Western medicine is fantastic, but trying to manage chronic disorders through chemical medications that you're on for the rest of your life, and to get into every aspect of your personal, private, religious, political life, that is not what the medical system should, like, medical systems are for life-saving devices. Nature is what they're trying to get rid of. Humans, soul, aliveness, connection to the earth. If everything is just a resource, and if everything's dead around us, then we just annihilate everything around us.
Yeah. Here, hang on. Okay. Here we go. All right. There. Luckily, she was so tired. The rough transfer was okay.
She's like, oh no, I don't care.
I know, her arms like all caught in the cord, and she's like, okay, I give in.
Fine. Oh, at 3:33.
Yeah, I just put her down. Here, hold on. I just put. Cool, perfect. All right, I'll see you when you take a break.
Yeah, so that was 3:33 my time that she blissfully went into.
Well, the daylight savings time, we're still like, it's great because she's been sleeping for like 12 hours at night, which is long, you know, so that means just like one nap during the day now.
Yes.
So, which is not really typical of children that young, but that's just how my kids, you know, Leo stopped napping when he was 18 months old. So that's how my kids are.
Yeah. And
anyway,
did we find out what human design she is? Have we done that yet? Have we done human
design? No, we have, because she's a generator too. I think all three of my kids, I think we're all generators. I need to do Mike though, because I bet he's something else.
I think he's a projector probably with all those generators. That's probably why.
Yeah. He requires a whole team of generators.
Yes, to keep him going.
Yes. Yeah, I'll have to plug in Mike's stuff and see what he is. No, my dad's working on the boat here. They're keeping my grandfather's boat is being kept in our area because we've got the space. So
yeah.
So he's here working on the boat. Anyway, so
I would love to dive in and do like an inner child visualization, because I'm really intrigued and I would like to know personally too, as to, you know, obviously there's some people pleasing aspects. There's this this need to be the healer, as as the wounded healers that we are, to like heal and to give even though it's not feeling good anymore.
Mhm.
And to take time off and set solid boundaries. Like, boundaries were not something we could have as children.
No.
And that is very clear, you know, that in the 80s when we were growing up, kids were not allowed boundaries. They did what
No.
they were told, and that was it. Like, you're tired, I don't care. You do as you're told. Like,
right.
And so it'd be this unraveling. I'm sure there's so many aspects to this, which is why it hits on so many levels, as to like fulfilling not just a few needs, but a ton of needs.
Right.
So I'm in the chat. I'm just gonna write, that way I remember.
Right.
People pleasing, and healing, boundaries, just so that as we kind of collaborate and get this list going, we can really see, like, okay, how do I, and then the other aspect is, how do we fulfill that need now that the world is so much integrated to this technology? How do we do it in a way? And I know that these, which is why I'm doing twice a month now, like, I know that this, having space to interact with real humans on a real level, where we're sharing our own experiences and opinions, not convincing or like trying to
right just sharing experience.
There's no debating. It's like, I don't care, you know, your choices are your choices, and your experiences are your experiences, and everybody gets to have them here. And if it's triggering for somebody, we deal with that, and we open that up, and we find out where it's coming from, so that we can continue in a way that is transformational, not destructive. And so, you know, connection, and real connection, nature connection even, is just getting farther and farther and farther away. And what's interesting, I've been living in nature for 3.5 years now in a school bus. But I've spent more time outside since I've been at this property in the past 2 months. Like, it's so, because there really isn't that much wild out there.
No, when you're out traveling around, you're on roads, you're at like campsite type places are all settled.
And even like boondocking places, they're usually, like in the bus, we can only get a mile or two from the highway, you know, so it's like all this wild place that we were just couldn't actually get to because of the size of our vehicle or whatever.
Right. Wow.
So it's an interesting aspect when we look at how scary nature is. How many people are still scared of the dark, first of all? Like, we've been trained through huge horror film propaganda to be scared of the woods, to be scared of nature, to be scared of the dark. And if we weren't already, the Blair Witch Project came out. Like, you know?
Right. No, exactly. No, I know. Because I mean, I still get freaked out in the pitch black dark, because it feels like something's closing in on you, or you feel like, oh, there's got to be something scary out here. Because it's been just ingrained in the media for us to have that specific experience, you know. So it's like, oh yeah, that's why we need lights everywhere. We need
sadly, you know, in where you live in Washington, there really are things right there, and I met one, you know. There really are things in your woods, but it's not, you know, they really don't want us to find them and connect with them. But I've been having to purposefully, like this has been, since I've been here, I've purposely come out into the dark. I've turned off my flashlight. I've looked in the dark and I could feel that, like, that pit of the stomach crawling up. And I've had to just sit with that feeling.
Yep.
And then look around and listen and like ease, you know, allow for it to like unravel.
Yeah.
But it's that so often when we get that, we're just like, go inside, you know, and
yeah,
rather than like sitting in that.
Yep.
And I think as kids, you know, I had this thought of, man, is there something to us being in a room by ourselves, even as kids, that plays into that need? Like, and there's nothing against having your kids in their own rooms.
No.
But there could be so, I mean, we used to live in teepees with like 10 people in a teepee all together. Like,
right.
Not until.
Yeah. Everyone's so spaced out and separated. Yeah.
I mean, even 200 years ago, 150 years ago, it's very, very recent that we have slept alone.
Yeah.
And so there's there's so much there. Like, are we evolving that quickly? Are we able to evolve that quickly? Our kids, you know, like my kids now both have their own beds, and every time they're like, can we sleep with you? 10 and almost 9, mind you.
Yeah.
Can we sleep with you? And it's like, well, you don't actually get good sleep. I don't mind you sleeping with me. You kick me all night, but you don't get good sleep. And they're like, oh, that's right. You know, it's like,
right.
So there is still a desire to like be, and I told Travis, I was like, you know, come winter, the kids are probably going to be in our bed, because when it's cold, it's like there's a safety aspect of wanting to not be in your own space and like wanting to feel another person's heat, because it's, you know, it's just, it's different. We haven't had a winter in 3.5 years. Like, so there's these aspects that I think are all woven in. It's not one thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
And you know, and we can't, it's very much purposeful.
Yeah. No, it's interesting too, because you think about like even like what, like Laura Ingalls Wilder, or like the pioneers, like even they like were slept in a share, like they might not have slept in the same bed,
right?
But they were all pretty much in the same room.
Yep. Yeah. And most siblings all slept in the same bed. And that was up until 100 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
I do have to say there's a lot less trauma. There's a lot less incest. There's a lot less.
Yeah, right.
Trauma. Like there's things that are beneficial with all the siblings not in one bed. And, you know, the kids all used to get sicker, you know, disease was much more rampant. There's all these aspects that, you know, in the potato famine in Ireland, kids would wake up next to dead brothers and sisters, you know, and it's like there was nowhere for them to go. So there's so much that we know about, but is knowledge really creating more?
You're right.
I don't know.
It's not really, I mean, it's like you get the knowledge, but it's like what's really done with it, you know, and then how is it utilized, because it depends on who has it, you know, and what they're doing with it.
And I think this whole woke thing that's happening, this I'm woke and you're obviously not woke because you have that choice, or you know, when it's tied into a political system, it's not anything. You're just following a political party that's not being woke. Like,
no, it's not. No. Well, I'm just like, there's just no nuance, you know, there's just no nuance. It's like two things can exist on a parallel space. Like a pandemic can be real.
Right.
at the same time as government doing power grabs. Those two things can be real and existing at the same time.
Right. And because I was where I was during a lot of this, like in Arizona and in these places that have belief systems,
right,
we would have to have a lot of conversations. Like, it doesn't matter if this pandemic is man-made or nature-made.
No.
It exists, and it doesn't matter how it exists.
Yeah.
And so now there's a choice. Now we can have a dialogue. You can have whatever belief systems about whatever you want, but we at least get to an even playing field so we can move forward in the conversation.
Right.
And so I think that is now, I feel like we're getting to that place, kind of.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more movement and momentum, especially going into the holidays. People are like, the holidays are happening, like,
oh yeah,
they didn't happen last year. The holidays are happening.
Yeah.
This is still my choice. However, you need to be comfortable to have that choice, whether it's having everybody vaccinated who comes for the holidays or not having everybody vaccinated. Like, however it's happening, people are, I feel, shifting a little bit more into like, how can we create space for this to happen so everyone feels comfortable, and those that don't can choose to do their own thing, like.
There's boundaries. People are like realizing what they're, and it's like there's a different kind of need for them. There's a different kind of need for them to where it's like, it's actually, boundaries are a necessity.
Yes.
For this. It's like, boundaries are a necessity for a lot of things.
Right. Boundaries are a necessity in your speech about people of different ethnicities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things. My sister was really brave about telling my mom that certain members of the family couldn't come anymore when she had kids because they couldn't control what came out of their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't want her kids to learn, because racism is a learned behavior.
Right.
And so that was something that I really admired, because I'm 7 years younger than her. So I didn't really understand what she was doing at the time, but I was like, she just did that, and it was so cool that she had this boundary and stuck to it. And she's like, we're not showing up. You want to see your grandkids? We're not coming. And it was like,
that's amazing.
Wow, what's going to happen? Is she going to come? Is she not? Are they going to do it?
Well, right. Because it's like, your kids are like little mockingbirds. I had to have a conversation with my in-laws about it. I'm like, I understand that you're from a different time, and like saying stuff like engines is like okay for you. I was like, what's not okay is when my child goes to school and repeats it, and then I have to deal with it from a thing I did not teach my child.
Right.
In fact, something I actively work to.
Yeah. My kid, well, we go to so many 1800 reenactments, and they all call them Indians.
Yeah.
And so my kids will be, and a lot of Native Americans refer to themselves as Indians.
They still call, it's kind of a weird, So
there's tons of Native Americans that refer to themselves as Indians. But from my standpoint, they are not Indians. They are not from India. They're Native Americans, or they're indigenous of North America, or wherever they're from.
Right.
So we try to have clear communication about these kind of things, about some words keep coming. But my kids the other day were like, the Indians. And I was like, what about the people from India? And they were like, I mean, and it was like, let's be clear. But it's so, because I literally dress up as a Native American at these 1800 reenactments as a medicine woman. So it's very privileged white person to be a white person dressing up and portraying a Native American, to teach Native American culture. There's a lot everywhere.
No, there's a lot.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
But it's also like you're acting, like, are you kidding? When I was in like 6th grade, 5th grade, you know who I played in a play? Harriet Tubman.
I love it.
Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was very offensive for a lot of people. But what are they going to do? There's like 2 Black kids in my class.
Yeah.
Like, what? Oh, you're the Black person, so you're going to play the,
right.
There's just, and that's the nuance part, right? That's the shit. That's the shit.
That, and it's not that suddenly I'm woke. I wouldn't even call my, like, there's so many layers to that.
The term woke now is something that's been actually taken from Black people, right, and appropriated into something totally different. That's not the original meaning. And it's like woke fucking Olympics. It's like, who's more woke than the next person? Because you know this and that. Guess fucking what? We're not supposed to know everything that's going on at every single second, at every corner of the country, like, or the world.
I think that is actually what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because I have people reaching out to me now saying, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I should be taking this, and I didn't realize I should be doing this, and what do you have for this? I'm like, whoa, where are you getting all this information from first? Because
right,
that's total overwhelm. Like,
yeah.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
And so let's dive in. We've got like 9 more minutes, so let's dive in.
Yeah, let's do our thing. Let's do what we came here to do.
Okay, I know I could just talk to you for hours though, and
I know.
When I get the podcast going, you will definitely be somebody that we will just chat about all the rabbit hole stuff. Because
I can't wait. I love it. I'll go all the places.
I love it. Yes. We can't help in 50 minutes. We've probably like, what in the fuck just happened during this 50 minutes?
Let's do the time warp again. All right, I'm ready.
Deep breaths. Let's just take 3 breaths. Let's feel our seats beneath us. Let's get into our bodies. If you need to move around to do that, I always do, to kind of like just feel my feet, feel my seat, feel what's underneath me. So let's go into a nature setting, whatever nature setting feels right for you. And as we imagine that nature setting, I'd like to find either behind something, there's a trail, there's a pathway, there's either rocks or leaves, or there might even be a creature that is actually going to have us follow them. And as we continue down this pathway, we're going to lead ourselves to either a tree or a rock or a cave that we're going to enter into. And as we prepare to enter into this, we're going to be having an intention of just being completely open, without any premeditated thoughts about what we're going to find or what the needs are going to be or what we assume or think with our adult intellectual minds. We're going to just leave that all here. And when we're ready, we're going to go down into that space, whatever it is under or into. And Karen, will you let me know when you're there?
I'm there.
Okay. And so we're going to use a light source, whether that's a candle, our fingertip as a light source, a lantern. There could be like fire fairies or light fairies or any sort of magical beings lighting up. There could be glowworms, anything that's in this space. And on the count of 3, in the snap of my fingers, the light is going to turn on and we're going to see what is hidden in this space. 1, 2, 3. And so now we're going to be looking around in this lit up space, and there may be a child or a past life, soul body. There may be an animal spirit. There may be all of these, but there is someone waiting for us in this space. Do you encounter anyone, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'd like for you to ask them, if there's one or multiple of them, what are the needs that they have, especially when it comes around the topics and curiosities and experiences that we've been having over the past hour-long discussion of all the various aspects. Have you heard a need, Karen?
It's been like less of a need and more of like, including me, there's like 3 entities or energies in this space that need to like come together, converge together.
Okay, so there's an integration that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the best way for that integration to occur, do you feel?
It's like a little, I can see it. It's like a literal merging that has to happen. Like one is like this. I don't know if you can see my hands. One's like this, and then the other one's like this, and the other one's like this.
Okay. So
It's
whenever,
like
whenever you're ready, or if you'd like to do it, would you like to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, I'd like for you to literally step into each of those entities. So like one step into one, and then one step into the other until you're fully integrated. And as you're looking around now, fully integrated, are there pieces or aspects or dynamics that are needing any other attention?
No, it's just like I'm probably just gonna have to like write it down.
Okay.
Because it's pretty strange.
Okay. I'm just writing mine down real fast so I don't get it. Okay. So as we gain these insights, we just want to give gratitude for this sacred dark space, this root space.
Mm-hmm.
We want to give appreciation, and we want to actually turn those lights off so that this space can be a sacred vessel that is not, needing to be artificially light or needing to be anything other than as exactly what it is, which is a dark womb-like space, and that is okay. So we're going to just make it dark again, and then we're going to exit with the incredible treasures that we found within this space. And go back into that nature space. Thank this nature space and the guides that led us here. And when we're ready, we can begin to come back into our physical bodies and move around and take a breath and come back into this reality, this dimensional plane that we're playing in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not what I expected.
No, me neither. I mean, like, part of it I wasn't surprised about, but I was like working really hard to kind of remove this sort of like idea that I had, you know what I mean, of what it was going to be. And then, yeah. Have you ever seen the movie The Dark Crystal?
That's my mom's favorite movie. I'm sure I have. I do not remember any of it. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's interesting that that's your mother's favorite movie. Interesting. Because it's a it's an out there. I mean, right? It's a Jim Henson film from back in the day. You know.
Right. So he played with a lot of shadow and a lot of
This is all about that movie is all about all of that. You would actually really, I think you'd really enjoy the movie. Well worth it. I walked in and there was a mystic in there, which is one of the kind of like, it's like kind of it's like a dying sort of species kind of in the movie. Okay. In this world, and they're like the light and they're ancient, they make like they're mystics. That's what they're called, the mystics, and their shadow aspects are the Skeksis who are taking over and doing dark, terrible, greedy, gross shit, So anyway, there was a mystic in there, which is like, I'll send you a picture so you can see what a mystic looks like. Yeah. Because I'm like literally in this cave with a Muppet. Yeah, and then you know what I mean. So that was happening. Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
There weren't. I mean, obviously, it wasn't a Muppet to me in there. Right. It was a real thing.
A real yes.
Yeah, and yeah, and then there was like a swaddled infant version of myself, right? So it's like, okay, I had to like merge with the mystic. And then I had to like bring myself back into my own womb, like into myself and kind of like do that, which was pretty like, I mean, right. That's pretty literal, but that's what needed to happen. But the other aspect with the mystic in there was interesting, where it was like, yeah, the mystic was over and then I was in, and then it was like a whole like layered thing, So yeah. And it wasn't really like, it's kind of one of those things where the messages I was receiving weren't quite like in literal words or language, how that stuff kind of like it lands, but it's not in a way that you can really like articulate
immediately. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, that'll be cool when that download fully comes through. I'm very curious what the mystic has to say, as well as the infant. So but yeah
I love it.
Yeah,
I have never I've never been led to say that there's going to be more than one entity in there, and so I guess I've never experienced more than one. It's usually the small child waiting for me, but I was
right. No, me too. Yeah,
I was very led to say like past life aspects and animal god, and so like my cave was full. There was all sorts of things going on in there, and I was like, whoa.
Hello everybody.
Hello there. And pretty much the message was, you have been so busy, you've been ignoring all of us.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay,
right.
All right, time to dive in again.
It's that 'tis the season, right? 'Tis the season, and that's kind of, I mean, I think that's kind of what's going on with me too. It's like, no, you're making all the right moves here, because it is like all of the things that you want to do and want to create into your life can exist without that other stuff. Yeah. And it doesn't require external recognition or accolade. Like none of that is a requirement, like, so.
Yeah. And even just through talking with you, I went, whoa, I can get rid of the Instagram and the Facebook and just write them onto blogs on my website and have them automatically post onto Facebook saying, comment on the blog on the website. Like I don't know why it took me so long to just realize that, but I'm like, yeah, I don't need that space. I can visit.
A lot of people are moving, especially creators like you specifically, you know, healing types or mystic types, or because Instagram is using what you put out there, and it's using to create its own cheapened version,
right,
to then advertise to people like me, like, oh, here's this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's literally profiting off free labor,
right,
you know, and at the end of the day, like if you look at X number of followers, you probably have like 100 that are like maybe consistently engaging. Right. And then it gets lower and lower, like who's, you know, it's like one woman that I like in particular that I follow. She's got like, you know, a chunk of regular people that always pay premium.
Right.
She doesn't actually need anybody else.
Right.
You know, and these people just are shifting to paid platforms.
Right.
And then what I've been doing is being intentional about signing up for people's newsletters. And I've actually really enjoyed reading reading newsletters.
Right. Well, and doing a blog would then make it so they would go out automatically in emails to those who are actually interested. And because I don't email anymore, because I don't have time, like, yeah,
right. Yeah. It's like using you know, there's all those umbrella groups that you can use to where it's like, oh, now it's here, there, and everywhere, all with one hit of the button.
Exactly.
And that's where technology is fucking great.
It is. And I would really love to transition to the Mighty Networks group, knowing that there's nothing else connected to it. You're only going to find what you're there in the group for. There's not going to be sponsors. There's not going to be ads. There's not going to be, you know, any debating. It's just, it is what it is. It's the sacred space I've been trying to create for forever.
Yeah. Just sharing what's going on. And like, you're in a place where it's like, okay, to just share what is going on, and no one's going to be like, you know, it's a judgment-free space, you know?
So, and there is an opportunity to put all the programs I've ever done in there and have people like sign up for those programs directly within that space. So there's a huge opportunity there.
Yeah.
That, you know, just feels kind of out of the comfort zone, you know what I mean? Because it is. So yeah. But I think so your bravery in sharing your own experiences of just seeing that addiction, seeing that compulsiveness has really created so much awareness within me. And I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad it could help, you know. You know, you're just, you know, one of the few that I can just get super dark with right away, you know, because it's like it feels a lot of shame around having that trigger about that topic, especially, you know. And it's like, well, you got what you wanted, you know. And it's like, I did, you know, and I'm really fortunate, you know. But it's like, fuck all that, you know. You don't need that. You don't need to be working for free. That's for damn sure.
Right. And I think that's, you know, my humanness, my non-filtered humanness does not have the eloquency of $1 billion industry to make what I say instantly profitable.
Right.
And so everything that I'm putting out there is instantly utilized and used by that system. And so that makes so much more sense going, oh, okay, I see.
Right. Right. Yeah. They put their filters on it. They package it. They fucking capitalize. Market it with all their access to all those high powered marketing teams and algorithms. And it's fucked up.
Yeah. And so, so creating space for that, and, you know, and it's, so thank you. Cause it's,
you bet. I'm so glad. I'm glad we could like mutually benefit from it. Cause it was funny, cause I forgot that you were doing this, and I was like, I probably need a session from Stephanie. and you'd shared about it a few times, and I just forgot, you know what I mean?
And then but I have being the only ones on here, and I'm like, okay.
Sorry, I did that.
I know, that's okay. It was needed. It was needed.
Being a hog.
No,
Like nobody else.
it's, I find it so amazing though that even within this, there's going to be so much healing and transformation happening. And do you mind if I put this recording up? Okay.
No, not at all. No,
okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
Because I think this topic of just being able to openly share about the compulsiveness, we're very real with each other with.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would have been sharing it with anybody else that was on here anyway, you know? So
yeah,
I didn't say anything I wouldn't have said. So.
So these real conversations are what I'm excited about continuing, because I can't keep up, and I won't keep up.
No, I won't either, and that's the thing, I know we have to get off soon, but I have a neighbor who I absolutely love. Like, our value systems are the same, and she's got 3 children, and we live walking distance from each other. I mean, she's just been and she's just lovely, and like her birthday's 2 days away from mine. So you know what I mean? We just we click.
Yeah.
But she's a couple years younger than me. And she wants to be with things. She wants to be like, what's the word? Like, I don't want to say what.
Jiggy.
Yeah. She wants to be the person, like she wants to be a good white woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I get that, and I told her, I was like, look, I went through all that shit. And I was like, you can't do everything. You just can't. And you can't, subject yourself to really angry people, especially really angry Indigenous people that are just like, well, what you can do as a white person is no longer reproduce. Whoa. Like, that's what a white person can do for Indigenous people. Yeah. And I'm like, that person has a reason that they're very upset and angry.
And I was I honor their anger.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. But like, here's the deal though, is I was like, you got to pick the things you really fucking give a shit about.
Right.
And you take care of those things. You do things consistently for those things. Like
met with racism.
Yeah.
Like being angry about racism that has happened to you and turning that around and being racist against people that weren't racist to you.
Yeah.
It's not, I honor your anger. I honor your words.
Yeah.
Your like wanting to commit genocide against the people that genocided your people. I get
right.
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
So that doesn't make it my choice. That doesn't make there's more solutions than just that one choice.
And that's what I told her. I was like, you can't be all the things. You're not going to make everybody fucking happy. And that's the people pleasing shit, especially if you're trying to be a good person, a quote unquote good person, and I was like, a good person by whose standards? I'm like, I'm here. I'm in all my fucking privilege in my big fucking house with my new car, like whatever. Yeah. I was like, and I have disposable income. So you know what I'm able to do? I'm able to give money to organizations that I give a shit about, where I know exactly where the money is going to go. Yeah. And that's what I fucking do. Cause I got 3 kids. I don't have time to run out in the streets and fucking get gassed or whatever. I can't do, these are things that I cannot do. So I do what I can do, and everybody should do what they can do.
Exactly.
That's it. You just try your fucking best.
Yeah. And no longer be the good. Oh, I'm like wearing my villain mask. I love this. Halloween came, and the whole villain thing started last year around this time.
Uh-huh.
Called Diabolical. I got called Diabolical. And I was
what? Oh, by those people? Okay.
Well, it was I met a mutual friend in his shop and gave him a potion, and he was like, how dare you sell something in my shop? And I was like, is this a mutual friend who's in pain? And we decided to meet. What? I was so confused. And he's like, you're diabolical. And I was just like, me? Stephanie? And then I was like,
then you're like,
yes,
yeah,
it's fucking diabolical.
A good word.
As soon as I like owned it, I was like, oh bitch, watch out. Like, if I don't have to be nice anymore, if I don't have to be good anymore, if I don't have to follow the rules anymore, this is so amazing.
Yeah, but you've been doing this for a long time with the shadow aspects of words. Like you've been doing this villain work for a very long time. So it's a very foundational aspect of the work you do with people. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah,
it felt groundbreaking. Like,
yeah. Oh man, it's kind of like, ooh, you got called diabolical. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I was like, ooh, am I really? Is that really?
Yeah.
Me as the villain? Me? Literally,
right.
I was so like taken aback. I'm like, never like done any. Okay. Oh,
right. Okay. You're like, where's my Maleficent horns? They're coming out.
Exactly. I'm like, oh man, I'm owning this one. It's too good
That's
not to.
Awesome. That's awesome.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. This was awesome. Thank you.
And this was
always a pleasure.
Fantastic. So I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.